Entering Kenmore. Doors will open on the left.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 45 of Entering Kenmore. I am David Azer alongside Zach Coe. Zach, been a minute. We are now about 2 weeks through spring training play, and everyone is there. Everyone's producing. And at least Red Sox ownership has not spoken since we have last talked, because last episode it was mostly just talking about how mad we were at ownership rather than the actual product on the baseball field. So we'll stick to some more ball talk this time around. A couple of different storylines coming out from spring training. I think the biggest one was Marcelo Mayer and a little bit of drama that I think media kind of played up a bit, but I'll get you the full quote because Alex Cora did mention before Marcelo Mayer made his debut that his spot on the Major League roster was not guaranteed. He said he needs to earn a spot on the Red Sox opening day roster, needing to show something this spring. When he was asked what he needed to show, he said that Mayer needs to be better offensively than he was in the majors last year. Mayer took a little bit to make his spring training debut, and then in his first game, he hit a tank. So seems like he's coming along in that development. Zach, how are you feeling on all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, it was 2 weeks removed after the Patriots lost in the Super Bowl, kind of no man's land in terms of the new league year starting, NFL-wise, the Olympic break in terms of the NHL and the Bruins, and already the NHL isn't really a big, driver of news. And then, obviously, there's only so much when will Jason Tatum return talk that you can do. So, and this was inarguably the biggest storyline so far to come out of Red Sox spring training, so it makes sense that I think the media kind of blew it up over it. But I do think it was something to monitor. I think, it's something that we talked about, which shameless plug, we're doing our division series, our division preview series with my Ramble On co-host George. We just wrapped up the NL East, and we talked about it with the Phillies, where maybe Dave Dombrowski knew that Bryce Harper's the guy that you can kind of push his buttons a little bit and get him to reach another gear. So I trust Alex Cora that maybe he thinks that Marcelo's that guy, and you can kind of push his buttons and be like, all right, man, you got to earn it. You got to go out there and prove it. You're the number 4. You're the number 4 pick 5 years ago or whatever it was. But as far as at the big league level, you haven't shown anything. And this is a guy now with the injury to Romy Gonzalez. He becomes that much more important. I think we're still going to see him platooned probably with Andrew Monasterio now at this point, who's had an incredible spring. But yeah, I think this for the most part was a big nothing burger. You mean to tell me that one of your top prospects that came up, had a cup of coffee, 44 games, hit 228 with a 80 WRC plus, has to go out there and earn his spot on the opening day roster? Yeah, dude, obviously. What are we even doing here? Obviously, Mayer comes with the pedigree of being the number 4 overall pick, a top 15 prospect in the sport. But ultimately, like everybody that comes with that pedigree, they have to go out there and earn it. It's not just something that's given to you. This is a Major League Baseball team, and ultimately, nobody gives a shit whether you were the 4th overall pick or the 400th overall pick. You got to go out there and perform, and I have faith that Mayer's going to do that. And to me, the biggest thing is just health with him. It's the same thing it was entering the offseason, and it's the same thing it has been pretty much since he's been drafted. He's yet to put together a full season of health. So if he can do that, I think he's going to be a good player, and I think he is going to go out there and earn his spot. I mean, look at what he did in spring training last year. You could argue that he was the best performing of the big 3 in last year's spring training. So I think he's going to go out there, he's going to earn it, he's going to be your opening day second baseman.
You said it. It was kind of a dry period for sports news as a whole. So I think this was a little bit blown out of proportion. But 2 interesting takeaways for me from these comments from Cora are this is not the first time he's called out a player in spring training. He's done it with Alex Verdugo back in the day. He's done it with Jarren Duran, Tristan Casas last year, even Rafael Devers to a certain extent before everything happened. So I'm not surprised that Mayer is the guy he chose to kind of call out this season, especially when a lot hinges on his bump in production this year, especially with now Romy Gonzalez being hurt and obviously Alex Bregman not being here anymore. You're going to need him to pull the weight offensively a little bit more than maybe you would have expected him to. But the other thing is, we did all this like song and dance about why Marcelo Mayer should have been on the major league roster last year. No one was calling out Christian Campbell for his poor performance in spring training, and ultimately he made the roster over Marcelo Mayer. So I, it's
Well, yeah, but I
weird.
think
It's
we all know why he made the
right
roster.
because he signed the extension, but it's just funny to me why didn't Cora call out Christian Campbell last year if they knew he was making the opening day roster? Now we're calling out Mayer. Not that I really care. Like I know Alex Cora mentioned on the Greg Hill show, I think it was last week, that this year in spring training feels so much different because there's way less drama than there was last year. And obviously, everything going on with Devers last year kind of threw a wrench into all the hype that that team was building. So I think if this is the worst thing to come out of spring training, I'm totally okay with that. And I think Mayer has so far lived up to the comments and lived up to what Alex Cora said he should do. So the ball's in his court, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a super small sample size this spring. He's only played in 2 games, 6 ABs, but he did hit that home run. It's a 156 WRC plus. But again, not to overanalyze 6 spring training plate appearances.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think he's going to be on the roster. I think he's going to be your opening day second baseman because it begs the question that I've seen been asked a lot. I think Coley started asking it over on Section 10, but if he's not on your opening day roster, then what was the point of being like, oh, hey, like Marcelo Mayer is not available in Ketel Marte talks?
Yep.
Because when you're talking about trading for a guy like Ketel Marte, this is a potential perennial top 5 MVP finisher every year. So obviously you have very high hopes for Marcelo Mayer. And we know that Cora said last year, this kid's a shortstop. He's a shortstop. He's not playing there right now, but this is the shortstop of the future. And we'll see when he ends up ultimately making the move over there. I know Trevor Story still has a couple years left on that 5-year deal that he signed back in 22, right?
Must have been, yeah, because I think he has 2 years left.
Yeah. So we'll see when he eventually makes the move over there. Personally, I would have him be your starting shortstop this year. I just think the defensive metrics that Story showed probably signal a move to second base is in his best interest, but the team's not going that way. One thing that stuck out to me too, besides like, okay, well, obviously they have big plans for Mayer because they weren't willing to include him for Ketel Marte, who, like I said, is a perennial MVP candidate for the Diamondbacks, is Cora said that he wants to have a consistent double play partner for Trevor Story in the middle infield. So I feel like that's what better person than Marcelo Mayer for that to be, or whether it be Duran or Marcelo Mayer. I think I've been on the record as saying in the last episode that I'd like to see Mayer be third base if he's not going to be your shortstop, because I just think keeping him on the left side of the infield, I think the metrics are good either way, anywhere you put him. And I just think Duran profiles a little bit better as a second baseman, even though he did prove capable defensively at third base. So I just think whichever direction you're going to go in, that's what it's going to be for the season. I don't think we're going to see the Michael Scott snip, snap between Duran and Mayer bouncing back and forth. And also, if you want a consistent double play partner, we know Marcelo Mayer is going to be platooned with, like I said, probably Andrew Monasterio this year. So why not just have Duran be that consistent double play partner for Story at second base and then run your platoon at third? Like that's how you get the most consistent possible pairing in your middle infield. So we'll see what they end up doing. It kind of seems like they, like I said on the last episode, they've definitely leaned into Duran at third and Mayer at second, but they said that they were just trying to make sure Duran was fully stretched out after offseason surgery. So we'll see how things start to progress as these guys are going to be getting a lot of burn with the WBC kind of depleting a lot of the roster. Obviously with all 4 outfielders being gone.
Yeah, and that makes me excited also to see if Christian Campbell has anything, at least at this juncture. Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to make the major league roster, given how much outfield depth they have and refuse to clear this offseason. So ultimately, I don't think he's going to make the opening day roster. But I do think if he can show a flash in the pan in this last month or so of spring training, like that will only help his case. And I am pretty confident that Duran is going to be the everyday second baseman, like you mentioned. I think they're just stretching him out at third base. And Mayer really should be the third baseman because we saw him make some really great plays in the field last year. And I think that should only improve, especially when Duran, I know, we've talked about, profiles more as a second baseman. I don't know if he necessarily has the range to play third base every single day. So I also like that. But if you're talking about bringing back Romy, then he would likely be at second base. I don't know how he would do in a third base platoon. That's the only concern there. But
I don't know.
I don't
that
even
you
know if he's
can-
coming back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know that you can plan your roster now around
Right.
where Romy better profiles, because it seems like he is in absolutely no rush to start to ramp things up. So
Yeah,
he's a guy
definitely
that
gonna
I'm
miss
not
time.
counting on at all, pretty much at this
Mhm.
point. But I know I've heard people be like, oh, well, Meyer already made an error at third base in his one game there on Sunday. If you were actually watching that game, I was, because I was working. I was working it, but Meyer, it was Enrique Bradfield running down the line, and you could tell that Meyer thought he had way more time to make the throw than he did, so he made the play, and then he kind of like took a beat, and then he had that like, oh, fuck, and then had to throw it. I don't think that's something that would happen in the regular season, because obviously you're way more prepared for the opponents that you're facing, and it's not like, oh, shit, Enrique Bradfield is that fast? Like, so I don't think that's really a big concern. And also, again, it's 2 games in spring training. I just said I'm not going to make a big to-do out of him hitting a tank and whatever in those 6 plate appearances. I'm not going to make a big to-do out of one error in one game, because like I said, I think that's explainable.
Yeah, I will only put stock in spring training games if they fit my agenda. In this
Correct,
case,
yeah.
it does fit my agenda. So I'm going, wow, Marcelo Mayer hit a home run in his spring training debut. He better make the team. Like,
yeah, it's all about narrative ball. It's not spring training, it's narrative ball.
I mean, we'll get into some more narratives that have been trying to be pushed on me. I won't fall for it, okay? Spring training, I'm tired of overreacting to spring training, and we'll get to that later, but I'm planting the seed right now, because that's going to be a big talking point later. I know was this from today, the Rosenthal article?
This morning.
Okay. So this came out today on the Astros still now having an infield logjam, and apparently, really, we need to get Craig Breslow. I don't even know who the GM of the Astros is right now.
Dana Brown.
Okay. So we need to get them in a room together, and they need to work through whatever refusal they have to move on from their positional logjams. We need to have an intervention and just get that sorted out. But you have the quote from Ken Rosenthal on Isaac Paredes.
Yeah, so Rosenthal wrote this piece in the Athletic this morning. The necessary move is to trade third baseman Isaac Paredes for a left-handed hitting outfielder, an idea the Astros have discussed most thoroughly with the Boston Red Sox. According to people briefed on the discussions, talks stalled, and the clubs have not been in recent contact. That's what I like to call you snooze, you lose, bozo. Because it seems like they were the match made in heaven, the Red Sox and the Astros. You even talked me into Isaac Paredes on the Boston Red Sox, because it just seemed like it was fait accompli. It was something that was bound to happen, and it just never materialized. Obviously, we talked about it was a weird fit value-wise, because obviously, whether it be Jarren, Duran, or the report was that the Astros valued Willie or Abreu higher, that's not a one-for-one trade. So then where does another piece come in? Whether it be Bryce Matthews or some of their, like, you don't need pitching prospects on this side for the Red Sox. So, like, it was a weird fit to begin with, but it kind of seemed like both teams were just trying to jam square pegs into round holes to make something work in terms of their log jams. And now the Astros are sitting there, and honestly, credit to Craig Breslow, because he pivoted to an actually good decision. And James Tibbs just hit a home run again yesterday for the Dodgers. He was the best piece in the Rafael Devers trade, and you flipped him at the deadline, and another solid outfield prospect in Zach Earhart for Dustin May, because you panicked after you didn't get Joe Ryan and had to do something. But this was it's something that I've talked about before in jest in the offseason, but Craig Breslow just doesn't work well under deadlines. Like, he doesn't work well under pressure. He had the entire offseason to negotiate with the Astros, and then finally it was like, okay, fine, we're pivoting to Caleb Durbin, which is it's a fine pivot. It's neither of those guys, Paredes or Durbin, were going to knock my socks off. So, like, they made the decision that was best for the team. You couldn't wait around and wait for the Astros to figure out what they wanted to do with Paredes. You have a team to build yourselves. So, to me, the biggest takeaway here is credit to Craig. Like, can't believe I'm saying this, but credit to Craig. He didn't stay in this waiting game with the Astros, because now guess who has all the leverage in trying to acquire Isaac Paredes if they want to, which I don't even think they need to anymore.
No.
The Red Sox. Like, you want Wilyer Abreu or Jarren Duran? Yeah, well, fucking tough shit. Good luck, buddy. Like, you're not getting either of them now. Like, I don't even know who the comp would be in terms of trying to make a deal work now, but it's certainly neither of those guys, because you have your third baseman. And we just talked about Marcelo Mayer. He's going to factor in here. If he wasn't going to factor in, if they didn't see him as factoring in, they would have traded him for Ketel Marte. So, like, where unless you're, how about Yoshida? Houston, you guys want Massa? He's a left-handed hitting.
He's
outfielder.
great. You'll love him.
Yeah, you want to give us Paredes? We'll take. You guys are taking Yoshida back. Like, at that point, that's like pretty much the only deal I would do for Isaac Paredes at this point, because the Red Sox roster's all but set.
You don't typically see a lot of like I wouldn't call this a blockbuster, but I would call it more than like a roster.
It's a notable
type
deal.
trade.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's a notable deal.
In March, you rarely ever see that happen. Whereas like maybe a pitcher would have gotten DFA'd and he gets moved to a pitcher needing team. But like an Isaac Paredes deal this late into the offseason, or it's not even the offseason anymore. So I don't think it's going to happen. And I mean, like you said, I was trying to come to terms with Paredes before Caleb Durbin ended up in Boston. I never really liked the fit. I know that people were saying, oh, well, he has like 30 homer potential at Fenway Park. I really don't care. The defense is not there, and you've committed yourselves to pitching and defense this year. So you're going to go back on that and bring in Paredes. It's not going to happen. And I mean,
even if
it's
it
kind of
was
on the Astros.
Even if it was a Yoshida for Paredes swap, like, that's simply just trying to clear the money because you have all the leverage in the world and they need to get rid of a guy. But like, even then, like,
I would do that.
You're still in a tough spot roster wise, because then you still have one too many guys for at bats to give. So something would still have to give in the outfield logjam. But even so, I mean, to get Paredes, which, I mean, obviously this is a pipe dream because the Astros would never do that, but it's just simply the point I guess I'm making is just that you have all the leverage. So unless they're willing to do something colossally stupid, like take on Masataka Yoshida's money for Paredes, it's just not a deal that they should be interested in making. But yeah, I'm done with Isaac Paredes. Sucks to be the Astros, sucks to be Dana Brown, who's now sitting here having Carlos Correa go. Carlos Correa pulling a little bit of Tristan Casas from last year, obviously with much more pedigree to do so, going, I'm not a GM, but you have me at third, and he made sure he's at third. You have me at third, Pena at short, you have Tuve at second, and then you have Christian Walker at first. That's a really good infield, and then you have to make things work either with somebody playing left field or somebody playing DH. And I think after the injury concerns last year with Yordan Alvarez, they don't want him playing left field. So no. They're in a similar spot to you with the outfield in terms of their infields, but unfortunately for them, the time for them to make it work with the Red Sox has come and gone.
That, and they don't have a Masataka Yoshida who they could just send to the Shadow Realm again.
Yeah.
And then suddenly all of our problems are solved. So, which is what ultimately I think is what's going to happen. Like, what other choice do you have to get all four outfielders?
Well, they're crossing
ABs?
Their fingers that somebody gets hurt.
Which is a terrible way to go about things. Like,
so bad.
I understand that you want to prep for potential injuries, but the fact that like you're kind of leaning towards actively rooting for one for your roster to make any sort of sense is malpractice.
Especially when you cleared out so much of your outfield. Like, I don't think they want Masataka Yoshida touching the outfield grass with a 10-foot pole.
Oh,
like,
absolutely not.
I said it in last season, but they talk about Yoshida playing left field like he needs to wear the John Olerud helmet out there. So I don't know what the plan is if someone does go down, if it's one of your outfielders. And also, how much worse of a baseball team are you if one of these outfielders goes down? I think maybe
you're horrible.
Aside from Rafaelo, who I think if knock on wood, if he went down, you'd at least be all right defensively, sliding Duran back into center and then making things work that way. But like, if you're talking about Wilyer Abreu, Jarren Duran, or Roman Anthony going down this year, your offense really hinges on those three guys and Willson Contreras.
And speaking of them, we had that collision last week with Cedar Rafaela and Roman Anthony. Both of them were down for a little bit too long for my liking. I had a bunch of people reach out to me and be like, this cannot be happening right now. Then they both got up and finished the inning, so nothing too crazy came out of it. But yeah, it gave me a heart attack for about 5 minutes there.
Yeah, I was back in the Jock Lounge. We were watching the game, waiting for the afternoon show to start. And it was me, Dan, and Stiz sitting back there, and the collision happens. And then, like 5-10 minutes later, Andy walks in. He's like, "Is the Red Sox season over if Roman Anthony misses like if his season ended right there? Is their season over?" And I was like, "Yes, it is," which goes back to the point that I kind of have been making all off season by not getting certainty to replace Alex Bregman. And I think they replaced Bregman to an extent. Not getting certainty to replace Rafael Devers is putting so much pressure on 21-year-old Roman Anthony to the point where if he collides with Cedar Rafaela in the first inning of a spring training game on February 26th or whatever, 27th, whatever day it was, that you have Will Fleming and I think it was Bradfo doing the game with him going, "Oh, but everyone in Red Sox Nation, hold your breath." Like, it's a lot of pressure to put on a 21-year-old kid where if you go down, the season's over. If you aren't an all-star caliber player, the season's over. Like, that's where they're at with Anthony. So I think it goes back to putting too much pressure on him. But yeah, it was a scary moment where we kind of just saw the season flash right before our eyes, because I think out of all the guys that you cannot have go down under any circumstances, Roman Anthony's number one. Like, yeah, obviously, if again, knock on wood, if Crochet goes down, you still have a really good rotation and you have more than enough depth to at least cover the innings. Obviously, none of these guys are Garrett Crochet, but at least you have guys to fill the spots. Like, you have a serviceable rotation. Right now, they're projected to have the second best rotation by FWAR in baseball. That obviously takes a huge hit if you take away Garrett Crochet's projected 6 or whatever it is, but you're still probably a top 15 rotation without him. What is your offense without Roman Anthony? Bottom 10?
Non-existent. Yeah.
Like, it actually might be a bottom 10 offense without Roman. So, yeah, that's the one guy. And so to see him, he was down way longer than Rafaela, too. So to see him and he was flexing his arm, and it was like, oh, fuck. Like, if his wrist is broken, like, we're fucked. Like, we saw Bogarts battle wrist injuries for however long, and that takes a serious toll on guys.
And both of them got up eventually. Both of them looked okay. So nothing else came from that, I don't think, either. So
no, Rafaela went on to hit a home run, and Roman scored on it after hitting a single. So
yeah. So breathe a sigh of relief, everyone. I think if we had to go into this season and Roman Anthony was already hurt, like, what would we talk about for the next 7 months?
And then what the narrative would have been. The dumbest people on earth would have been like, "Oh, is Roman Anthony injury prone? Is he soft? Can he put together?" Like, it would have been like absolutely worst case scenario on every single sense of the word.
Thank God we dodged that bullet. Some other takeaways from spring training. Both Jarren Duran and Willson Contreras have been hitting tanks in spring training thus far. And I know I mentioned that I was pretty pessimistic on this team and I needed to see them on the fields rather than on paper. And I will say, Jarren Duran hitting some spring training homers, and not just spring training homers, spring training bombs.
Lefty too.
Right, and seeing Willson Contreras produce like we thought he could. I know it's spring training, but I did say if it fits my narrative, I'm going to bring it up, and both of these fit my narrative, so here we go.
Willson Contreras, the air pull rate. Someone said it all the way back leading up to the trade deadline that the profile matches Fenway Park. And he's a guy that, like I said it on the last episode, I think he's going to push 30 home runs hitting at Fenway Park. I just do. He's never hit more than 24 in his career. I think he's going to push 30. It's just the park fits the swing. I don't care that he's never done it before. I think he's going to see a power surge at age 30, whatever. It's just, some parks are built for them. We've had the conversation with Isaac. Why is it so easy to see Isaac Paredes hitting 30 home runs at Fenway Park, but a guy with the exact same swing profile and the exact same the exact same profile can do it. Like, I can't believe that people still are clinging to this. Oh, well, Zip says that they don't have over 20 home run hitters. We did it on the last episode. I had them having what, 4, 5?
Mm-hmm.
And you were right around there
4.
too.
Yeah.
4. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because we went Abreu, Contreras, Anthony, and then one of Duran or Story. So yeah, it's good to see him. It's good to see it. Like, it's nice little, like, a little reassurance boost. Like, oh, okay, I do know what I'm talking about here when I'm looking at these things. Like, so, like, that was nice to see. But obviously, from a team standpoint, someone needs to hit home runs in this lineup. And if it's going to be Willson Contreras, the early returns are looking really good.
Absolutely. And I think that was the biggest area of concern. Not Willson Contreras as a whole, but will the Red Sox have any sort of pop this year? And I think Willson Contreras showing that early. And not only that, but showing really good defense at first base. He's made a couple of diving stops already. I think that's going to be an underrated part of this season. You come in at least with some certainty at first base. And whether or not he can stay healthy for the whole season remains to be seen. But at least it's not Triston Casas again. In respect to Triston Casas, both of us love him and hope he pans out eventually. But at least for this year, you could not go into this season being like, okay, Triston Casas, this is the year. You're the only first baseman on the roster, seemingly. So let's see what you got. At least they have Contreras now. And hopefully Duran can see more success against lefties as well, because you kind of are relying on it, him and Wilyer Abreu. So I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been.
It's early, but yeah.
It would have been roster malpractice to go into this season with Triston Casas.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention, like, the performance is one thing. The performance hasn't been good. He's had the 2 months in August or the 2 weeks in August of 23 or whenever it was, where he was incredible, but simply with the injury, you just don't know, like, with that type of injury, if he's going to be ready for opening day. So it would have been, and then, okay, like, so let's play this out. You do go into the offseason with Triston Casas, or the spring training with Triston Casas as your only first baseman, and then all of a sudden you show up and Romy Gonzalez can't even throw the ball or swing a bat. Like, that's your contingency plan there if Casas can't go. So then you're completely up shit's creek. Thankfully, we're not there. I do think Casas is going to contribute at some point. I said it. Someone has to hit home runs in this lineup. I don't think Masataka Yoshida's long for the team. And, like I said it, I don't think it's good baseball management to be rooting for an injury to make your roster make sense. But these issues do tend to sort themselves out. They simply do. It's a 162 game season. Like, Triston Casas is going to factor in at some point. I believe in him. I cannot quit Triston Casas, no matter how annoying he is or how much people like. And I have a Brian Bayo point. I think I finally quit Brian Bayo, but like, it's one of those things where I can't quit Casas, and the more people hate him, the more I love him. It only fuels my fire that much. And I think part of it is just because people hate him for non-baseball reasons. Like, they don't like him because he paints his nails and he wears a ski mask on the field. Like, he's trolling you. Like, you people are fucking morons. Like, he is doing this to rage bait you. You were getting Jester maxed. Like, I don't know how to break it to you. Like,
you're too old to be saying that.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if I used that correctly.
I don't either.
Like, you were getting mogged to the nth degree by Triston Casas. This is what he wants you to do. But yeah, I just can't quit him. I think there's a good baseball player in there somewhere. There is. He has too many of the tools to not be good. His zone recognition is incredible. The bat speed, he hits the ball so hard, and he wants to be great. Like, you can just tell when he talks. Like, if you look past getting trolled, you can tell how badly he cares and how much he wants to be good. Like, he wants this really badly. And so for someone to have all those tools, like, you can't teach that kind of eye. Like, you just simply can't. Like, there is a good player somewhere in there for Triston Casas. He just has to. He's going to go down to Worcester for however long. He's going to refigure things out, get his swing down. I think the biggest thing he needs to do is get more aggressive at the plate. His eye is so good that sometimes he's sitting there waiting for the perfect pitch and it just never comes and he gets nitpicked. And I think maybe that'll change with the ABS system, but I think he's also a guy that you don't want anywhere near using these challenges because of how good an eye he has. He'll just be fucking tapping his head immediately trying to, which I'll get into ABS takes too as we move in, but there's too many tools here that you just simply cannot teach for Triston Casas not to be at least a productive Major League Baseball player. I still believe that.
I love Triston Casas as well, and I'll just echo everything you said. I think he still has a place on this roster, but we need to get to this developing story that Zach Coe all of a sudden hates Brayan Bello. I think we need to expand on this.
Yeah, I don't hate him. I just am kind of I'm hashtag all set with Brayan Bello.
Wow,
it's just. Okay. It feels like we've been waiting for him all set. I've moved on, I think is a better way to phrase it. We've kind of done the Brayan Bello song and dance where he needs to take a step forward. He needs to address some maturity issues, which I think he's done. But like ultimately, he's not the front of the line starter that we thought he was.
No.
And I think that was a little bit of dreaming on like Pedro giving him he's just like me comp that he gives every Dominican pitcher.
I think Oviedo just got it.
Yeah, right. So like, I think he's just simply not that. Like he's a solid 4 starter. He's a solid 5 starter, which is what he is on this team. But I think between the contract extension, which now looks incredibly premature, not that it's a bad value deal, but like when you're talking about trying to trade him, I think it makes it harder to trade him that he's not an ARB and instead locked up at a bigger number than he'd probably be getting an ARB. And also, like I said, I've moved on. Like, I just think there are guys with higher ceilings that I would rather see in these 4 and 5 spots. Like, I think a Brayan Bello trade maybe would have been good for both the Red Sox and Bello. A change of scenery for him, seeing if he can unlock something. Like, I think the Brewers were the perfect match for him. Like, they have a history of success with guys who have really good changeups, tweaking things. Look at Quinn Priester, 2-seamers too. Again, Quinn Priester. And so, like, to me, I would rather see Connolly early or Peyton Tolley be on the Major League roster, even if you want to have one high floor guy in Cutter Crawford or Sandoval and then one of Oviedo early or Tolley on there. Like, I would rather see those guys. We know Brayan Bello is not a front of the rotation starter. I think both Tolley and Early could be.
Yeah, I think 2 things. One, he's going to benefit greatly from a better infield defense, obviously being a ground ball pitcher. So I at least want to see how it pans out this season. And I also think allowing him to be your 4 starter seemingly for this year takes a little bit of that pressure off of him because he could be one of the best number 4 starters in baseball, I think. So at least they did what they could to kind of lessen the pressure on his shoulders. But I think if he doesn't put everything together this year, then you do kind of have to consider a change of scenery type trade, like you mentioned. I don't want to say that I'm like fully out on him. I don't think you are either. But I do agree there's plenty of other guys that you could give his spot in the rotation to. And who knows, maybe that happens mid-season. If Tolley or Early is lighting the world on fire in AAA, assuming they don't make the opening day roster, then what's stopping you from moving on from a Brayan Bello to give one of those guys a full-time opportunity?
Right, there really isn't anything aside from maybe not getting the value that you're looking for.
True.
in Bello. But at the deadline, we know that the prices are higher. So do you maybe find someone who's desperate that's willing to unload a pretty decent package for a 26-year-old that's under team control for however many years? I definitely think it's something that you would at least have to consider. I mean, we know that they considered it this offseason. So yeah, I'm not totally out on Brayan Bello. I just am kind of done waiting for him. We know what he is, and what he is like a fine number 4 starter.
Yeah, I mean, and that's totally fair. I'm glad we did some more digging on that, because when you initially said it, I was like, oh my God, this used to be your guy. I'm
yeah,
shocked.
And I mean, I get the point about the better infield defense, and I don't think it factors in balls that defenders maybe would get to if they had better range, and but simply didn't. But last year was a 3.35 ERA with a 4.19 FIP, so if anything, it's showing that he got a little bit lucky last year.
Right.
So obviously in years past, in 24 was a 4.49 ERA with a 4.19 FIP, but yeah, I think maybe, and even in his rookie year 22 it was a 4.71 ERA with a 2.94 FIP. So I just don't know. Like, I sure it's gonna give him a boost. I just don't know by how much. Like, I think maybe you missed the boat on trying to sell this high on Brian Bayo.
Yeah, you might have. I am interested to see that could be a storyline we're following throughout this season, because I do think if he doesn't pan out this year, then you almost have no reason not to move on from him. It's not
Right.
to say like I'm ready to drive him to Logan Airport right now, but with the pitching depth that you yourselves have created, you give yourself a little bit more leeway to move on from a Brian Bayo if you don't think the fit is as good as it once was.
Right, exactly. And I mean, obviously the spring numbers have been just absolutely horrid, but
Which brings me to my
I
next point.
yeah, let's hear it.
Do you have anything else on Bayo or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I am exhausted. I am exhausted. We do this every single year. Every single year, a
But
new
it's narrative
starter.
ball.
Exactly.
It's
We're just
ball.
it's exhausting. I don't pay attention to spring training nearly as much as everyone else. I'm a big baseball guy. We know this. I mean, I'm on this podcast and I yap about baseball pretty much more than anything. But I will refuse for the rest of my life to take any stock in spring training starts. And I have people texting me left and right. Oh my God, did you see Ranger Suarez's first start in a Red Sox uniform? He looked terrible. And we committed $130 million to this guy. We're screwed for the next 5 years. Can we please shut the fuck up and take a breath? Like, this is spring training. This one doesn't fit my narrative, so I'm not going to get worked up about it. Like, every single year this happens, starters come into their new teams or just come in to a fresh season and work on things in spring training. They're not throwing their 100% best pitches in on March 3rd or however early in spring training. Like, this is the time to mess with things. This is the time to work on new pitches, develop off speed in Peyton Toley's case. Like, we cannot be taking stock in every single pitch from spring training. Like, you're just going to drive yourselves insane. And I'm exhausted of hearing, oh, well, now is Ranger Suarez suddenly the worst contract in Red Sox history? Is Sonny Gray suddenly washed after a good year last year? Like, can we just stop and relax and stop trying to take stock in every single thing that's going on? I understand there are bright spots, and I understand that maybe it's a little cause for concern that Ranger Suarez isn't hitting the ground running. But until opening day, I'm not going to care about anything these pitchers are doing. I don't care if they're giving up 15 runs a game. Like, we all just need to relax.
Yeah, and I mean, especially a veteran like Ranger Suarez, like I think
Right.
he can on February 24th, I think he can maybe slow roll going out. Like, obviously the velo was down, but I don't think that's anything like super to be concerned about. Like, if he comes back from the WBC and is still like velo down, then like maybe it's time to start ringing some alarm bells. But I think especially on the pitching side of things, we just don't know what guys are working on heading into their outings. On Sunday, Aroldis Chapman threw more sliders than anything else and didn't get out of an inning. Are we now bitching about him? Is it now time for concern on Aroldis Chapman? Because if you dive into the numbers instead of just going, oh, well, he didn't get out of the inning, he was bad, he stinks, he's washed, you can dive it, like I said, you can dive into these numbers and say, okay, well, he was clearly working on the slider, because when have you ever seen Aroldis Chapman throw more sliders than anything else? Never. So I think, especially on the pitching side, jumping to like sweeping conclusions on February 20 whatever about guys is disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous. On the Sonny Gray side, he wasn't super sharp, but stuff-wise, shape-wise, it was all in line with last season, so I don't think that that's any, like, major cause for concern. Like I said, he wasn't super sharp in an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned, walked 2 guys. But again, this is a 36-year-old starting pitcher. I don't think he magically fell off a cliff and we should know that right now because of one start on February 28th. Like, can we please, for these guys, just let them get into the season, especially coming into this pitching lab who we know targets guys that they think can tweak in to unlock another level in. Can we just let them do their tweaking in these meaningless games and then make our judgments once the games actually start to matter? Like, honestly, I'm not even taking stock of like things other than things that fit my narrative that I can overreact to until like May 1st at this point. Like, it takes a while to get things going. It's a 162 game season and we haven't even played game 1 of it yet. It's March 3rd. Like, just everybody take a breath and wait until we can see these guys in games that matter, because ultimately none of these stats matter on March 27th or whatever day opening day is. I think it's right around there. All of these spring training stats flip to 0. And then they start to matter. Then we can start to do this song and dance. I'll even listen to people do the song and dance in April and May, but I won't make any sweeping declarations until after that. Like, but for the love of God, especially pitchers, stop overreacting to starts. Unless they're prospects that I like, in which case, again, narrative ball. It's all about narratives in spring training, because ultimately, and like that's what's great about spring training. You can take whatever you want to fit your narrative because ultimately it's meaningless.
That's also a good point. It's funny. I feel like we're going to have this conversation every single year at this time because it always happens and I always get really annoyed by it, probably more than I should. Because to be honest with you, like, I'm only tuning in for the pitchers that I know. I'm only tuning in for the ABs of people that I've heard of before. When you get into like innings 6 through 9, when people are coming up who I've never even heard of, I'm like, okay, that's my cue to turn on my Xbox or do anything else with my time.
So,
like,
I've got a take in that regard.
Okay.
Spring training games do not need to be 9 innings.
Sure don't.
They simply do not.
No.
I'm sitting there running the radio broadcast on Sunday, 3 hour and 20 whatever minute game. We got fucking Johnny Slapdick versus fucking Tommy Blowjobs out there doing who the fuck knows what. Fucking Johnny Slapstick can't get any outs, and then they go to fucking Timmy Slapdick, his twin brother, and he can't get any outs, and all of a sudden we're watching all these fucking nothing prospects just getting reps. For what? Like, seriously, for what? Like, do all this shit on the backfields. I'm not saying that it's not valuable for these guys and their development and stuff. Just, I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see at the 9th inning of this game against Baltimore. Everybody else on the Orioles had names on the backs of their jerseys the entire game, and out trots number 84 out of the bullpen. The Nesson thing, all it put was A-Fam. We can't even get a name for A-Fam, and he's up there, he's taking on N. Baez, who the only thing that the broadcast could say about it was that he looks like Mark Consuelos, who apparently is married to Kelly Ripa. Like this is what we're talking about in the 9th inning of spring training games with these guys. Like, why do they, like, 7 innings? And, like, again, I understand that for these guys, it's important for their development, but these games can be played on the backfields. Like, they do these backfield games. Let them play there. Even just have these games. And if you want to play it at JetBlue, play it at JetBlue. I just don't need to see it. I just don't. Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours and 20 minutes while nobody listens to the last however many minutes of a spring training game, or nobody watches the, like you said, 7th inning rolls around and you look at the lineup and all the players that you know, even the prospects you know, are taken out, and it's time to turn on your Xbox. Like, they don't need to be this long, and they certainly don't. You spent all this time for pace of play, and now we're doing 3.5 hour spring training games so every Tom, Dick, and Harry can get into the game. Like, I don't need it. I do not need it. And even the top prospects are gone by then. Like, because your top prospects you want to see facing the best talent. So it's literally just like watching the depth of the Salem Ridge Yaks out there And like I don't need to see it. I'm sorry. I'm the biggest fucking prospect nerd ever. I don't need to see 15th round pick Skylar King taking on a fam for the Orioles.
I mean, if Zach is the one pushing for this, then everyone else can just be quiet, because the prospect guy not wanting to see prospects in a spring training game, I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know.
It definitely contributes that I was working and just wanted to
Fair.
leave. Like a 3-hour spring
But
training
even
game.
still, these games never end. It's crazy.
Right, yeah. Like I said, you do all this work to speed up the game, and then all of a sudden we're doing 3.5 hour spring training games. Like,
I know.
what the fuck are we doing here?
Let's see, couple more. Actually, I think just one more thing, right, on Tully and Early and their service time manipulation.
Yes, let me get the Chris Cotillo piece pulled up right now because he had it yesterday, I think it was, for Mass Live. This can't be him. What the? Oh, I found an old Chris Cotillo page.
Yeah.
Huh. 16 followers from December 2013. Last tweet was January 2nd, 2014. It was when he was still at Daily Dish. What the hell is his Twitter handle now?
That's a good question. It's good radio. Hold on, bear with us.
Oh, it's the same thing. Huh. Oh, no, it's one L. This one that I found has one L. His current one has two L's.
Maybe an imposter.
Interesting. Weird. Okay, anyways, let me find this Tully article here. If Early is in AAA for 5 total weeks this season, the Red Sox control him through 2032, his age 29 season instead of 2031. That would seem a worthwhile trade-off in the eyes of the team with all the arms they have. Tully is the same scenario, but 46 days. Obviously, extensions with either would void these considerations. There would be a point where this is a story because there will be attrition or struggles at a time one of these guys is dominating in Worcester. When that happens, I will, quote, retweet this. So, obviously, everything comes down to service time manipulation. But I think it's a worthwhile argument. I think it was a worthwhile argument for Marcelo. I think it maybe less so for Roman, but even so, you were still in a position where you went into last year with so much outfield surplus that maybe you could play it a little bit, but it got to the point where he kind of forced your hand, and then obviously you got the extension done, so it really doesn't matter. But especially when you're talking about pitchers, I think it matters. Like, is this going to piss these guys off? Probably, but like, you can just say you didn't earn it. And I think that the last week or so, there's been a lot of smoke towards Peyton Tully winding up in the bullpen, and I had an interesting conversation with Dan Ball doing that Red Sox game about this. I'm at least interested in hearing out the logic behind. Well, I understand the logic behind Tully going to the bullpen. I don't think Early is in consideration for that because he has more than 2 really good pitches. Everyone always cites Chris Sale and Garrett Crochet as the 2 guys that went to the bullpen and then became, in Chris Sale's case, a Hall of Fame pitcher, and in Garrett Crochet's case, I don't think anybody would argue that if he has another 5, if he plays out this deal with the Red Sox pitching at the level he's currently at, he's going to be well on his way to being a Hall of Fame pitcher as well. So we're talking about one surefire Hall of Fame pitcher and a top 3 pitcher in baseball right now, undisputed. I want to hear some of the other examples of guys like Peyton Tully going to the bullpen and figuring things out, because I would much rather personally see like a Giovanni Moran fill this left-handed pitcher role in the bullpen and have Tully go down there and continue to work and build on these secondaries. I worry how much development can happen if he's just coming in out of the bullpen as the second lefty behind your closer. Like, it's just going to continue to be fastball slider, which we know are 2 really good offerings, but that doesn't create outs consistently as a starter. So I do worry about pigeonholing him just a little bit. Again, I'd be willing to hear some of the numbers. I know Adam Wainwright, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I think he's definitely in the upper echelon of guys who started their careers in the bullpen and then wound up and became successful starters. But right now, I think I'm a hard pass on Peyton Tully in the bullpen. And part of it is the service time thing, and part of it is just developmentally, I would rather see him as a starter. This is a guy whose first professional season was last last year. Like, and I know that the same thing happened with Chris Sale and Garrett Crochet, where they were drafted and then immediately thrown into bullpens for the stretch run for the White Sox. But I think this is a little bit different of a situation.
It's also like you could just sign a lefty reliever for basically no money. Like Danny Coulomb is still out there. Even Justin Willson is still out there, and he was great for you last year. So why don't you just bring back one of those guys and then let Tolley develop further in AAA? Because while you were mentioning that, I was thinking, like, if you're in the bullpen, you're only throwing your best stuff. You're not developing new pitches. You can't experiment as a bullpen arm. So I agree. I would much rather see him in AAA and take some more time to develop. I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, okay, you had a great debut, an electric debut, but since then you gave up the long ball way too much once people realize that you only really have one pitch. And we've seen it in spring training so far. He's been trying to develop more off-speed pitches. So just give him more time in Worcester to develop those further rather than just being like, okay, throw your fastball and we'll see what happens in high leverage innings out of the bullpen in year 2. Like, I don't think we need to fast track this process. I think it's great. He's already this far along, but it's clear there's more things he needs to develop. And I would much rather see him in an everyday, not an everyday role, but, a more consistent role in Worcester rather than let's shove him in the 8th inning and seeing if he can do it there. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And he's kind of a victim of his own success in some sense because, like I said, last year was his first professional season with the way that they handle these starters after they get drafted. If they didn't run out of pitching depth, you never would have seen Peyton Tolley on a big league mound last year. He
Probably
would have
not
just
early
been,
either.
No, I don't think so. Early maybe would have had a little bit better of a chance because he's a little bit more polished as a starter, but totally definitely not. He flew through your ranks last year. He probably would have got his cup of coffee in AAA at the end of the season and played that out. And then he would have been a guy that we were talking about maybe mid-season or like a September call-up, which I think then would have been a little bit more, you would have had more merit to the put him in the bullpen argument because it's more closely in line with what you do with some of these top pitching prospects as they're coming up. But I think at this point, like if you really need a boost in the bullpen and a spot hasn't opened up in the rotation for him by that point, then maybe August, September, you really need a lefty. Whoever Giovanni Moran, whoever you try out there hasn't stuck. Then Peyton Tolley is a fine bullpen option for your stretch run. But I'd rather, like I said, he should be in AAA working on the curveball, the sinker / two seam. I've seen conflicting reports on whether it's a sinker or a two seam. So hopefully at some point we'll get some clarity on that front. But I just right now I don't see opening day. You have so many guys that you can kind of throw at the wall and see what sticks in terms of figuring out your lefty behind Aroldis Chapman, and that's before you even get into the guys that you mentioned, Danny Coulomb, who his elbow must be fucking pulled pork at this point for him to still be out there at this point. But Giovanni Moran, who's a guy I think they really like. Justin Willson, he got outs for you last year. Even putting someone like Patrick Sandoval out there as he works his way back from Tommy John. Like, I think that is an option before you put Peyton Tolley there unless things get really desperate and you need him in the stretch run.
Totally agree. Is there anything else Red Sox wise we have, or is it time for a bulk breakdown here?
You have any, I know you haven't been super locked in on here, spring training wise. Do you have any thoughts on the ABS system?
I think it's a welcome addition. I think at times it feels like they're just in this testing period still where it's like, why is Cedar Rafaela challenging a call when he swings at everything? It's things like that. Like throughout the season, I think they will start to pick out guys where they're like, okay, you know the zone better than anyone else on this team. We're going to let you challenge rather than some of these other guys. Like I noticed that early on, they were letting everyone challenge and seeing what stuck and what didn't. And that led to them basically burning through every challenge they had early on in each game. Yeah. So I think I don't hate it. I don't feel like it takes much away, and it doesn't take much time at all. So any power to dampen the egos of these umpires who have now decided a lot of key spots on bad calls, I think is a welcome one. but we'll see how it develops over the season.
Yeah, I think where I stand on it is I think I'm definitely pro the system, but I think right now it's just a little bit, the implementation of it has been a little bit clunky because right now you're seeing them being used at the two beginning and end of the games, the two extremes. So like you have your major league veterans, guys that have never played with it before that are trying to get used to the system using the challenges in the innings that they're in, usually the first 3 innings. And then at the end of the game, you're sitting there, and if they get them right, you have 2 challenges. So it's like, fuck it, we might as well use these. You can't take them home; they don't carry over. It's like that's my biggest pet peeve in basketball and football is leaving timeouts in your pocket. Doesn't matter the situation. Like they don't carry over, fellas. Like you got to use them. Like what is the point? They don't hurt you. You got to use them. So like I think right now in spring training, it's been a little bit clunky, but I think I don't even think it's going to be as the season goes on. I think on, like I said, March 27th, I think it is opening day. I think there's only 4 guys on the Red Sox that can use the challenges. I think it's Roman Anthony. I think it's Wilyer Abreu. I think it's Carlos Narvaez and Willson Contreras. I think those are it. And everybody else has to prove that they know the zone well enough to use these challenges, because these are going to be really important challenges when you get into the regular season. And as far as pitchers go, I don't think any pitcher should be using these challenges, because they think it's something Chris Sale said when he was the baseball isn't boring brand had never been hotter. He was talking about the system. He said, I'll never use it because I think everything is a strike, with the sticker behind him. So yeah, I don't think any starter should use it, because they're going to think everything's a strike. So Narvaez, Contreras, Abreu, and Anthony, those are the 4 that I think should be allowed to use the challenge system, unless something is like completely egregious. Then I think he probably and Cora is a smart enough guy and a good enough manager where he's going to have this down pat in like that, I think. So I lean that I like, right. Well, I think that it's going to be so quick that you can't even use the video room, because you'll notice on broadcasts moving forward, they took away the white box on the screen to show the strike zone, because they don't want it to be used in I think the only way it would be able to be used like that is if you have like a Astros trash can situation, because it has to happen pretty quickly. Like you only have a certain window to challenge it. So yeah, I think it's been a little bit clunky to start, but I like the addition, and I think it's by the time the regular season rolls around, teams are going to have it figured out.
No doubt. And I do think there is some benefit to like only giving it to catchers or former catchers like Narvaez and Contreras, because obviously they know the zone more than anyone else. Now, if you're pitching, can your catcher challenge a call, or is it only the pitcher?
Pitcher, catcher, and hitter are the 3.
Okay, so I wouldn't hate if you gave Narvaez a chance every now and then. I think
the catcher should. And he's been really good at it so far this spring, challenge wise. So yeah, I think Narvaez will be able to for Red Sox pitchers. And then, like I said, I think he's included in the 4, because I think catchers at the plate tend to know the zone better than some hitters anyways. And then obviously Contreras, he's not only a veteran, but he also has experience catching. Like I think he knows the zone pretty well. And then Anthony is obviously your best player. I think every team's best player is going to control that. And then Wilyer Abreu, I don't know if you saw this on Sunday, but he challenged a pitch from Chris Bassett, and he tapped his head and just started walking because he knew he had it. So I think he's a guy who has pretty good command of the zone. So I think I'm comfortable letting him do it too. But like, as far as Cedon Rafaela tapping his head, unless it's something that's like super egregious, I don't want to see any part of that.
Absolutely not. And if you call up someone, prospect, I'm not letting you anywhere near this. Okay. No. You got to
It's like Casas. It's like I said about Casas. Casas is first AB. And I do think Casas gets fucked a lot on calls, because it's kind of similar to Aaron Judge, where it's just like he's so tall that you tend to get pinched at the bottom of the zone. But even so, like, it's literally if it even like grazes the strike zone, like just
in tennis.
So like I do think that maybe some of these pitches that ordinarily we would look at and go, oh, that's not a fucking strike, like what are we doing here, are actually strikes, and they've just been calling them wrong for however long, because the impetus behind it, the league said, was because the strike zone started to look like an oval rather than a rectangle, where guys were missing those like corner spots. So I think that's going to be a big change. But yeah, I'm not letting maybe like Trevor Story is one exception where he's a veteran guy too. But even then, like I think it would have to be pretty egregious. We'll see how they use it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing how the introduction of it has been, like you said, a little clunky, but as it develops, I think it is going to maybe save a lot of wins, maybe more often than people are initially thinking.
Well, it's gonna be funny. What happens first? A walk-off walk due to an ABS challenge, or a game ends on a pitch that was a ball, but then turns into a strikeout. Like those are gonna be too interesting.
I wonder how often teams are going to have them left, like right up until the end of the game.
I guess it depends because right now we're seeing it because guys are getting it right. But yeah, I think it depends because again, it'll end up being like I said, like your timeouts. It's like, okay, well, we might as well use these. We're not just going to keep them in our pocket.
That's going to be fun. I also think MLB The Show is implementing it this year as right. I'm curious how that'll work too. I want to say, which also comes out in now 10 days from now if you get early access. So I think we'll be doing some content from that as well. Always looking forward to this time of year because of MLB The Show, spring training, and then opening day right in line. It's always a great time. Do we have any other Red Sox takes?
I don't think so. I think I got all my Sox talk out of the way. WBC starting up. There are going to be some teams that really struggled to get outs. I talked about that on the NL East preview. Brazil is one. The Czechia is another one. My Czech, the team I committed my allegiance to for the Olympics, they're going to have some trouble getting outs. Yeah. So we'll see how things play out. I think ultimately it's a 2-horse race between Japan and the US again. The DR's lineup is just absolutely ridiculous, but then you dive into their pitching staff, and obviously they've got Sandy Alcantara, but then their bullpen is just absolutely horrid. They've got Carlos Estevez, who led the league in saves last year, but his velocity has like weirdly been down so far in camp for the Royals. So we'll see where they go from there. But then their second best reliever is Huascar Brazoban.
Okay, I'm familiar with the name.
Yeah, they've got Sir Anthony Dominguez, Camilo Doval, Wandy Peralta, Gregory Soto. I guess Abner Uribe is probably their second best arm after Estevez. But yeah, I think they are, once they get into that bullpen, they're probably going to have some trouble. So they're going to have to really out-hit their pitching woes, which they're certainly capable of if you look at their lineup. But yeah, we're going to have to do... Devers isn't going anymore.
I did see that. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to do some WBC breakdowns here in the next couple weeks because it's starting on Friday, so only a couple days away from the introduction of that. And
yeah, kicking things off at 5 a.m.
Is it a 5 a.m. start on Friday?
Yeah, for Japan, because those games are in Tokyo. It's Japan versus Chinese Taipei at 5 a.m., and then there's a whole slate of games during the day. And then the nightcap is, you guessed it, Chinese Taipei, opening things up and closing things out.
Thank God.
Yeah, a 10 p.m., 5 a.m. first pitch for Chinese Taipei, and then they end the day with a 10 p.m. first pitch.
Jeez,
Chinese
quick
Taipei
turnaround.
versus Czechia. Yeah, but I think I did the math out. I think it's going to be the next day for them.
So they're going to sleep and then play again before we even go to bed. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I am all systems go for the Garrett Whitlock fan club in the WBC. So get ready for that.
The meme is ready. The meme is prepared.
Oh, the meme is ready. It certainly is. I've been sending it out when he appears in spring training games, but it's not going to hit. You're not going to see it until he makes his first WBC appearance. But we do have a breakdown if you want to get to it, Zach.
Taunts the Montreal bench. Moves around.
It's time for David's Bruins Breakdown.
It certainly is. We are We have 2 gold medal games to break down. This is the Olympic breakdown edition, as well as should we just wait on Bruins, do you think? Or I have a couple takeaways from these
What
first
have
2
they
games
played?
back.
2 games? Let's wait
Yeah.
on Bruins. I think we
Okay.
can. We can do. Let's do a little deadline talk here coming up on Friday before. I don't know if
Ooh.
you have any deadline takes, but I'm chock full of them. So
I
can fire
don't
a couple
really,
off.
because honestly, people will float a bunch of names like Robert Thomas and some other
That's my number
guys, and
one.
I'm like, sure, these people exist.
They're hockey players for sure.
See, the problem is I'm just still getting into the Bruins. So you
Right,
asked
yeah.
me to look at the rest of the league, it's going to be pretty shaky. But I
Yeah.
did watch pretty much every Olympic hockey game, and that was a lot of fun. So we can do trade deadline stuff at the end here. There is a lot of these, so I'll try to go rapid fire because it is also, we're like 2 weeks removed from it now. But let's get into it with the first one. Charlie McAvoy's jaw is swollen as fuck. What a dog. And later in this tournament, he actually removed the fishbowl, so that was good for him. But this was right after he got elbowed in that Florida Panthers game, and then he flew to the Winter Olympics, and he just got like, it was huge on his jaw. So
yeah, he tweeted
credit
the
to him. Yeah, credit to him for sticking through that and also playing well in this tournament.
Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, he played the second most minutes of any skater on the ice behind only Quinn Hughes, which makes sense because that was his defensive partner, and then Hughes got the bump because he was the power play quarterback. But I think 2 years in a row now, obviously last year in the Four Nations and this year in the Olympics, it's really nice to see McAvoy kind of be that legit top pairing defenseman that Bruins fans have kind of dreamed on for the last couple of years. He's been a subject of a lot of my ire because I think that he was kind of given a little bit of an unfair billing where it's like, okay, this is a guy that should be a perennial Norris candidate, and he just hasn't been that. And I think part of it is just simply that the Bruins have kind of hung him out to dry a little bit with his partners. I mean, obviously it's asking too much to have Quinn Hughes be his defensive partner on an NHL team or someone of that ilk, but it's just nice to see him kind of go and thrive and like be the guy that we hope he can continue to be. And he already came back and looks like he found another level to his game, which is something that we were hoping to see in the Four Nations last year before the Wild doctors tried to murder him. But yeah, so it's hopefully he can continue that momentum. Had a really nice tournament, maybe a couple too many penalties if you're really like looking to nitpick things. But other than that, I think he was pretty comfortably the second best defenseman for the U.S.
No doubt.
When you're talking about Quinn Hughes, it's a pretty high bar to clear.
Next one here is, it is a lot more fun when the Kachucks are on my team. That is just, they're kind of like the Marcus Smart.
Well, did you find Matthew? You found Matthew. He was a ghost out there for most of the tournament. Brady.
It was fun when I think Brady was the one who scored early, right?
Yeah.
In the first game. So it must have been him, but in general, yeah. And then there was an AI video afterwards. Did you see that with Brady?
The White House tweeted?
Yeah,
shitting on Canada, and he plays for a Canadian team and had to.
I know.
They deserve it because they're such fucking MAGA chud losers that he deserves to have an AI video from the White House circulate of him shitting on all his fans, pretty much. But yeah, I feel that way about Brady. Brady's a guy that I think would, like, he's been rumored in trade talks for, like, seems like each of the last 2 or 3 years. He's a guy that I think would immediately become people's favorite player if he was a Bruin. Obviously the Senators are like right in the mix this year, so I don't think that's going to happen this year, and I think probably will never happen. But yeah, I thought Matthew had an absolutely awful tournament, though. It was like he wasn't even out there. Him and Austin Matthews were the two guys that I walked away from going, oh, really? Like,
we'll get to him later.
Oh,
yeah.
I've got an Austin Matthews take too. So
don't you worry,
not my
it's
captain.
in here.
Not my captain.
Let's see. Next one here, Latvia being a bunch of babies early on. I think we had 2 overturned goals, like within the first period of the first game here against Latvia. That was annoying. other than that, I don't have too much on
That was
them.
so annoying because I had first period team total over 1.5.
Oh, yeah.
They scored the first one early and then scored another 2 and had them taken off the board. That was a play that was cursed from the start.
Next one here. I will admit this might be bad pronunciation. I tried my best. Don's Lochmelis.
You were very close. Los Melis, I believe.
Los Melis.
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so. He's done
shout
for
out
the year.
to him. He is?
Yeah, he got hurt in the Olympics, hurt his shoulder, and is done for the year.
Oh, well, that
Yeah.
makes me sad. But I did
He
shout
had a
him out
nice
because he
tournament.
had 2 goals against Denmark. Yeah, that was cool.
He also headshotted Austin Matthews in the first game, which was awesome.
Yeah,
The broadcast was bitching about it, and they were like, Austin Matthews in the U.S. bench furious after a hit up high from Latvia. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then they show the replay, and it's Losh Mellis, and I'm like, oh, never mind, let's go, good hit, Dons.
Dude, Don's, that is electric.
Yeah. Oh,
I need
buddy, Dons is your fucking guy.
Why?
UMass legend.
Oh, he did go to UMass.
UMass legend.
How can I forget? Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
I feel like
huge.
I recognize the name, and then I'm like, I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, dude. And you have another UMass legend Bruins prospect coming in next year. I forget his name, the 4th rounder from the Brandon Carlo trade, the Swedish defenseman that they took.
What the hell
He's
is
a
his
UMass commit.
Let me see. UMass Amherst Bruins.
Your keyboard is awesome.
It is so loud. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to do.
No, there's nothing that can be done, I don't think. But yeah, it's so funny.
I got the most insufferable sounding keyboard. Let's see. No, there's only Lochmelis. I still fuck it up here. I don't know his name.
I'll find it. Keep going with your take. I'll give it to you.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, by the way, James Hagen's Jersey of the Week for winning Beanpot MVP. That was cool. Shout out to him. By the way, this is a side take. With all the NIL stuff, and admittedly, you are way more into college sports than I am. Why the hell are we not getting more jerseys out of colleges now? Like, I
feel like you can. BC does sell. They sell football jerseys, so I assume that they definitely sell hockey jerseys as well. That might be against the rules as a UMass guy though to be buying BC.
Oh, I won't buy them. No. I'm just Jersey of the Week is more just.
But yeah, yes, of course.
You did it.
No, yeah, oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's more of an award than it is I'm buying your jersey. But yeah, I would guess that they do have James Hagen's jerseys on that
I'll
BC
do some research
or any of that. I have the name. It's Vasek Blanar, defenseman playing in Sweden.
Can't say I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, he's not there yet. He's going next year to UMass.
Oh,
he's playing in Sweden currently. Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, UMass hockey hasn't really been great since Cale Makar left, unfortunately. And I have a Jonathan Quick jersey, but that was a DH gate purchase.
They haven't been
laughing
great.
at
Ha
me?
ha ha. Yeah, no, they haven't been great. Ha ha ha.
Oh, they
flagship.
They won a title though.
Flagship.
When was BC's last title?
Listen, we don't need to. When was UMass's last Beanpot? When was
I don't
UMass's last Beanpot? Yeah, they don't.
Do they even
have
let them
any.
in the They don't let them in.
No, don't let them in. Can't even make
Yeah.
the Beanpot.
Well, they hate us. I don't know. I'm not going to say they hate us because they ain't us, but they do hate us.
I don't know if anybody hates the UMass athletic department more than they hate themselves, because that is
How much
rough.
time do you have? We'll have to get my roommate on for that because he could go on a hour-long rant about it. I don't care as much, unfortunately. But
they don't care either, so there's no reason for you to.
Right. So I stopped giving them my money. Actually, I never really gave them my money aside from going there. Because I didn't pay for any sports games. But let's see. I lost my place here. Oh, why is curling on every day? This is not it was unbelievable.
I don't understand. So I didn't understand curling at all. But there was a day so the women win the gold. And I couldn't find the clicker to change the channel. And I was just
Mhm.
playing PlayStation, so I just muted I had my Roku remote, so I just muted the TV and just whatever Olympics were on. It was only something I was looking up to every now and then. I watched probably I watched so much curling. So the women's game ended. I turned my PlayStation on. I sit down, or maybe not even turn my PlayStation on. I think maybe I went to the gym or whatever. I come back, I left the TV on, curling's still on. I sit down, I'm playing PlayStation. I made it all the way to the replay of the women's game without finding my clicker. And I watched so much curling and had no idea how it worked. I don't know how the scoring worked. I had it
Dude.
explained to me a little bit, which made it a little bit clearer. But yeah, the curling is I didn't know that there were so many events for curling. There was
I know.
mixed, and then there was men's, and then there was women's, and then there was the cheaters in Canada and
Yeah.
the illegal filming to catch the cheating. It was
unreal. Like every single, no matter what time of day, I would turn on by the way, another annoying thing is it was basically impossible to get these games on the hockey games on cable TV because curling was always on.
Yeah.
You go to NBC channel 10 or whatever it was, and every single time it would be curling or bobsled or something.
And it was
not
such
hockey.
a pain in the ass trying to find the non-US games. Like that was
Right.
the biggest issue. Like they were some of them weren't even on. Some of them were only on Peacock. Like it was, I don't need to watch curling. I don't need to watch the fucking women's slalom. I don't need to watch a biathlon. I don't need to watch any of this shit. Like
Which is the one with
cross-country
guns?
skiing, the biathlon.
That I will watch that.
Like it, why is the triathlon running, swimming, and biking, but the biathlon is skiing and shooting? Like
with the guns, yeah. It's so funny. They're not even like it's not even really shooting while you're skiing, right? Like you're just skiing up a mountain.
No,
and then
yeah,
you stop
ski,
at these
yeah, you
stations.
ski and you stop, and then you like skeet shoot, pretty much. Yeah,
I don't understand
stupid.
it.
Yeah,
I don't know who
ridiculous.
came up with that. Let's see. Next one here. Swayman gonna Swayman, because this was probably the worst goal allowed in the entire tournament. It was from like beyond the blue line,
center
right?
ice.
Or
Yeah, center ice.
It was atrocious.
But the wall's black and it blended in with the puck. Oh, so that happened a lot in the tournament then, right? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
just the once. Just the once? Yeah, weird. Oh, Yeah,
a disaster, and he didn't get another game.
And then he then he got too drunk to play in the Bruins' first game, partying in Miami.
Is that what
with
happened?
the president. That's not definitely what happened, but that's definitely what happened.
Probably.
Everyone else was able to play. Charlie McAvoy actually played in the Olympics and was able to play, but you weren't. and Sturm's, not to get too Bruins breakdown into this, but Sturm's like, oh, we want him to get reacclimated was such a like chicken shit excuse too. Like, what do you mean reacclimated? He didn't play for 2 weeks. What's him not playing gonna do to help him get reacclimated? Like, he should have been out there, especially in a game that, when you look at the standings, had so much implications for your playoffs with Columbus, a team that's nipping at your heels. Like, your best goalie, your number one goalie, I went to Maine Business School, I know my worth, I'm gonna hold out until I get the most money possible. That guy needs to be in the net for a game that, coming out of the Olympic break, that's as important as it was for the Bruins.
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't great when he played against the Flyers.
No, he was good kind of a
disservice.
Yeah, he was really good for a while, but I mean, ultimately they just couldn't get the puck past Dan Vladar. Morgan Geekie should have had 5 in that one, and he just kept shooting it right into his fucking chest, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's getting to.
We'll get to more. Yeah, we'll get to more Bruins breakdown next episode. But yeah, that's all I have on Swayman because he didn't play again. I like Jack Eichel a lot. I think he's from like Chelmsford or something.
North Reading, maybe. Somewhere up there.
Yeah, but shout out to him.
BU legend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Golden Knights have like half of these players. I realized I actually do have another Jeremy Swayman.
He is from Chelmsford. That was a good poll.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. There's one more Jeremy Swayman. Jeremy Swayman shitting his pants live on Peacock. That was atrocious. It bothered me a whole lot. Austin Matthews still on fraud watch. He remained on fraud watch throughout the rest of the tournament. I said Canada looks terrifying. That didn't age well.
They did though. They are so good.
Yeah, they are.
The Celebrini, McDavid, McKinnon line that they were trotting out is so
how do you
unfair.
answer that?
Should be illegal. Should be illegal.
The lineup of doom and despair, but just for the opponent, that was. Oh, I'm glad that it ultimately they ended up winning. They probably shouldn't have. I don't know how. Well, even still, Canada had a couple tough goes before the finale. I think they went into overtime
against Czechia.
Both their Czechia. I think
and
who would they play before that? Finland.
Yeah.
Okay, next one here. 1.5 periods in. I think Sweden is kind of dominating the fellas. They were. That was a low-scoring game. And then ultimately Dylan Larkin.
They kind of got a shit draw. Both the U.S. and Canada kind of got a shit draw in the way that the group stages played out, because Sweden was supposed to be like a medal contender. Obviously, I don't think they were like a gold medal contender, but they have a really solid team. And same for Canada. They drew Czechia in the first round after they had a disappointing group stage. So two teams that were expected to at least be in the bronze medal conversation, you wind up drawing. I mean, it sucks for them too. They draw the U.S. and Canada in the first round, but you could have had whoever. You could add whoever, Latvia or any of the other shitter teams, but they ended up outperforming some of the teams you were expecting to be there. But yeah, got the job done.
Let's see. I think I love Dylan Larkin. He was electric throughout this whole thing.
Every time he puts on the U.S. sweater, he's just absolutely nasty. He was really good at the Four Nations last year too. He's
a lot of fun to watch. Yeah.
Something about getting out of Detroit for Dylan Larkin.
Hey, even though Detroit is pretty good this year.
Yeah, it's still Detroit.
Might be a paper tiger. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge to speak on that. Let's see. I know I don't like. Is it Mika or Mika Zibanejad?
Mika.
Yeah, he had a late goal to tie the game up. I don't want to be rude. He looks like he stinks. I don't know how else to put it. He just, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he does. He does kind of look like a smelly guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he's nice, but every single time I've seen him in Rangers games, he's pissed me off. Obviously, this had a little bit more juice to it, and that pissed me off a lot. Obviously, not his fault. He's putting it on for his country, and credit to him. But yeah, you look smelly, so you're out. Let's see. Thank God for Quinn Hughes. Hit the game winner against the Swedes. This one's good. I think the Bruins should acquire Megan Keller, the game winner for
Boston College legend.
The game winner for the women's team to get the gold medal. We will not talk about the drama that ensued afterwards, unless you want to.
I don't know. I feel like I've made my political leanings very clear on this podcast through numerous outlets. I just kind of think that the men's team got put between a rock and a hard place, because obviously you have Kash Patel coming into your locker room. I think that was probably mistake number one. Why he was even there to begin with is a separate question, a separate discussion. I think that's more political than I want to get into on this podcast, but he calls the president, and you kind of you're hammered. You just won the gold medal, and the president makes a joke that I think I've heard plenty of people make this point. Its biggest offense was that it was not funny. It was just not a funny joke. I think I don't know who it was on What Chaos with Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean, maybe their third mic, maybe their producer. I saw a well-articulated point about it there, but there are plenty of offensive jokes that you can say are funny. This was not one of them. That was the joke's biggest offense. Obviously, I think if you're the men's team, you just kind of get stuck in a point where, like, okay, the president just told a shitty joke. I guess we have to pretend to laugh at it. The response after it was not great. I think Charlie McAvoy remains the only player to still say I'm sorry. So that was obviously not ideal. And all these people coming out and like being like, I can't believe that this team is full of a bunch of MAGA chuds. Like, fortunately, like that's just the way of the road in professional athletes. These are all multimillionaires, etc. If you confuse them specifically in the NHL for good people with good political leanings and values, more often than not, you're going to be sorely mistaken. This is a group of people that grew up traveling the country playing the most expensive youth sport to play to the point where they're professionals. Like, obviously, they are right-leaning individuals. But yeah, unfortunate that it kind of took away from what happened, which was the first time that both teams ever won gold in the same Olympics, and a really incredible goal for the women's goal. Megan Keller's goal was way nastier than Jack Hughes'
That was
goal.
insane.
To toe drag and get free and
Yeah.
then slip it through. Was really nasty, but yeah. I think they were put in a tough spot, but yeah. Fuck Kash Patel and fuck Trump while we're at it. The funniest part was all these fucking chuds got so excited about going to the White House to meet Trump, and then they got fed McDonald's and then had to sit through a 2.5-hour State of the Union.
I would have lost it, dude. Like, there is no amount of pre-gaming that could have prepared me for that. I don't know how you do it. Oh,
Yeah.
The real thing we should...
Go ahead, give the real thing. It might be the same thing.
No, I don't think so. The real thing we should be talking about is that on the intro episode of David's Olympic Breakdown, both teams won gold medals, which hasn't been done in, 40 plus years?
I don't think ever they've both won.
Oh, so, I mean, the Olympic Breakdown bump.
That's true. The clip that I was going to talk about was they were at the 11 Club or whatever, which I guess, like, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Miami nightlife. I've never been. I don't really have any desire to go to Miami. But anyways, they went to this 11, like, ultra club that I guess has topless dancers, and they played the national anthem, and they had all these topless dancers standing with their hands over their hearts for the national anthem, and it's just hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I think, like...
I mean... What are we doing?
Like I said, I think that I've made my political leanings very clear. I literally just said fuck Kash Patel and fuck Trump, but I think some of the like other reaction from the left-leaning folks have also been a little bit too over the top. Like, people are like Charlie McAvoy's wife better have divorce papers waiting for him when he gets home. Like, all right, man. Like, what are we fucking doing here? Like, yeah, dude, I disagree with their politics. Like, I don't think I'm not being like, oh, his wife better leave him. Like, come on, dude. Like, they're professional athletes. Why are we so obsessed with their personal lives? Like, if you spend your entire sports viewing experience worrying about their political affiliation, then you're going to have an awful time watching sports, because more often than not, they're not going to agree with you. They're multimillionaires.
No doubt. Let's see. I did lose my spot. Okay, here we go. Sorry. No Canada versus Finland on cable. Curling and speed skating instead. Bring back good television. It's fucking unbelievable.
Used to be a proper country.
I know. Like, I couldn't watch World Juniors. I could barely find the non-Team USA hockey games. It was ridiculous.
Grow the game.
But we're going to put everything behind a paywall.
Obviously.
This pronunciation might be tough, but I thought it was a funny joke, so bear with me. Use no goals Saros with a disaster class. And did I say that right?
The first name was wrong.
Juice?
No, it's Juicy Saros, I believe. UC Saros. UC Saros.
Okay.
UC Saros.
UC Saros. Okay, you ever see those, is it Discover or whatever commercials where he's just sitting there, no goals? I've seen it now 17 million times because Nesson 360 only runs like 4 commercials. But anyway, it certainly was not no goals for him, and that was a disaster class. And really, they had Canada on the ropes, and it didn't happen. So, unfortunate for that.
You were close, though. His nickname is Juice.
Okay, well,
UC Saros.
UC.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool name. Yeah. Unfortunately, past the Bruins, like I got Marat Huznadinov ready to go. I know most people, if they're not Bruins fans, don't know how to say that. But outside of the Bruins, it's 50-50 if I'm going to nail these or not. Let's see. USA versus Slovakia is the jersey matchup from hell.
Oh my God, that was awful.
Dreadful.
That was so bad. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I definitely love Dylan Larkin. Another goal from him there. I wish Jack Hughes was on a better team. I think that's maybe
It was
universal.
a tough tournament for Jack Hughes truthers like myself. Not a big Jack Hughes guy, but he was really good all tournament. So.
Oh, that is unfortunate. A couple more here. I feel like Matt Boldy came out of nowhere and he's a stud. Where did he come from?
Oh, buddy, where did he come from?
BC?
Boston College. Boston
Of course,
College.
of course.
I think he's from Mansfield too. He's a Mass
Really?
guy. He's a Massachusetts guy. I want to say he's from Mansfield. When he scored that opening goal, Rochi tweeted a video of a bar that his mom works at.
Oh, it's cool.
He's from Milford, but the bar was in
Okay.
Mansfield that his mother works at. Yeah, Boston College legend. Unfortunately, he plays in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Wild. I think they have cool uniforms. Kind of an up-and-coming team, obviously traded for Quinn Hughes. How many seasons has he been in the... Okay, so I should have known about him.
Yeah, he's a really good player. I mean, usually you don't really see guys that come up and like immediately make Team USA. Like, there's just so much competition for it. Like, it's not like juniors where you kind of know the roster. Like, it's more veteran guys that like...
But shout out to him. He had a great tournament.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Okay, 3 more. I want to love Cale Makar, but I can't today. And I certainly didn't. Jack Hughes is him. Holy shit. Jersey of the week. This has been like a month of notes I've built up. So Higgins and Hughes can share. And honestly, Megan Keller should have one too. So 3, we're going to do 3 Jersey of the weeks.
I think we do 4. I think we do 2 from each team because I think Erin Frankel deserves one too. She only let in, what was it? She let in 1 goal the entire tournament.
I think so. Just the one against Canada?
Yeah. So yeah, Erin Frankel. Shout out Northeastern. Joe's going to be listening. He's going to be pumped that Erin Frankel was mentioned. Northeastern
Boston
getting
Fleet, right?
First. Yep. Yeah. One of my new close personal friends. After yesterday.
That is dope. Yeah. I wish I was there for that.
Yeah, that was really cool. The medal was way heavier than I thought. I had Haley Wins. That's the one I took a picture with, and she handed it to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's way heavier than I thought." And she goes, "You know, every single person I've handed it to has said that." So yeah,
how heavy would you say?
I don't really I don't know. Probably I have a hockey puck in my hand currently. Probably 2 or 3 times heavier than a standard NHL hockey puck. Okay.
Yeah, that is some good weight.
Yeah, don't ask me why I have a hockey puck on my desk, but I actually have 2.
Oh.
I have 3.
I thought I had one. I used to. I don't know where it is.
So I was recently clearing some drawers out. I found this little rubber 2011 Stanley Cup Champions puck that they were throwing out into the crowd at the parade. I found this 2016 Winter Classic puck from the Gillette game.
Foxborough.
And this is going to be a litmus test to see if Joe listens to the full episodes of the podcast, because I've been saying that I'm going to give this to him for quite some time, and every time I see him, I forget. It's an Adam Gaudette signed puck, another Northeastern legend. So, spoiler alert, that's what I've been waiting to give you, Joe, if you're listening.
All right, so now I'll need to know as well. I'll need to know as well if he's listening. Because apparently I've heard that, well, actually, I think you said it on these airwaves, that he is our Jersey of the Week tiebreaker. So we're going to need him to listen.
Yeah, big time. Well, we're going to need him to answer the phone is what we're going to need.
That too. I also think George should be worked in if there's maybe another tiebreaker, or we can flip-flop between. And last one here, Hellebuck is a brick wall, but I do not like UMass Lowell. And that's the end of it.
That's fair. Yeah, I like it. I think this was an awesome Olympics overall. Obviously, the U.S. taking gold. I think it put the game on a world stage, and hopefully the NHL can capitalize on the momentum. We'll see. The NHL usually isn't very good at capitalizing on momentum from international events. Awesome that both the men and the women were able to take gold. Like I said, shout out Haley Wynn, Erin Frankel, Megan Keller coming in yesterday. Shout out Haley Wynn, letting me take a picture with her gold medal. Shout out my close personal friend, and by that I mean I had one class and never spoke to her, Kayla Barnes, Boston College legend, another gold medal for her on the women's side. I think yeah, overall, fantastic Olympics, except for unless your name is Austin Matthews, in which case you've now been dubbed Bald Josh Allen. Just a really good regular season player. For a while, I'd been referring to him as Mr. October because he performs in October, but then when the lights are brightest, he disappears, and it was more of the same for Austin Matthews in these Olympics. He was only out there in the gold medal game to lose faceoffs, and he didn't do much else the entire tournament. Just a really talented regular season player, but when the lights are brightest, they disappear, and it really helps that they're both on two loser franchises that are destined to continue to be losers, and they are the face of it. So not my captain, Austin Matthews. I think there were any number of better choices for captain of Team USA. Underwhelming tournament, underwhelming player, Bald Josh Allen.
Yep. And it's funny because now we'll see the World Baseball Classic, and obviously Mr. Low Leverage himself is team captain.
Uh-huh. That speech was so bad yesterday. It's like, just remember, guys, we're sacrificing everything for this country and to be here, and you might not think you can do it, but you can. So let's go out and get them.
Dude, it gives me Trevor Lawrence vibes, that video where it's like, let's come out and play with some swag.
Yeah. John Henry gave a more rousing speech when he said, I'd like to start a cheer. Let's go Red Sox. Let's go Red Sox. That was more impassioned than anything Aaron Judge did.
If John Henry's doing better than you, then you know you are sorely mistaken. And we'll see. I mean, I will be watching him closely to see. I don't want the
Maybe
team
Aaron
to fail,
Judge
obviously.
is tall, Austin Matthews.
He could be. He could be, and probably trending towards bald. But
yes, yeah, definitely.
I think that's all I have. Did you have any final thoughts?
Trade deadline targets, Bruins wise.
Yeah.
Deadline is just about 96 hours
Friday,
away,
right?
give or take. Yeah, Friday. Couple big names. Sweeney has kind of played a little bit coy. To me, the move is to buy and sell. Obviously, I think that's easier said than done. If they're going to make a big splash, they're going to have to buy and sell at the same time to make the money work. So I think Andrew Peak and Victor Arvidsson are two guys that could be looking at the way out the door, the two pending UFAs after this season. Arvidsson has been pretty good, way better than I thought he was going to be, but ultimately, I don't think this is a year where the Bruins are going to win the Cup, even if they are shockingly competitive and entertaining. So to me, I still have my eyes on the future, and ultimately I don't think either Peak or Arvidsson is a part of that. Two guys' names being floated around a lot, started with the Rasmus Anderson deal, Mason Lohrei and Matt Poitras. I think both of those guys are the two biggest chips that they're dangling. Ty Anderson also said that he thinks that some of the first-round picks that the Bruins have, they have 4 in the next 2 years, or 3 in the next 2 years, I think it is, or 4 between their own 2, and then Florida next year, Toronto this year, unless they fall into the top 5. So I think the Florida one obviously is the most optimal one to try to move on from. But if they miss the playoffs, that pick is lottery protected that they gave to Chicago in the Seth Jones deal. So things kind of get a little bit wonky on that front. So that'll push the pick Chicago gets back to next season's draft. And then the pick that the Bruins gets pushed back to the 28 draft. So I think obviously that's the number one you would like to move. And then I think your own 2. And then the Toronto one to me is the most valuable. Currently, obviously lottery notwithstanding, would be the number 8 pick in the draft. So we'll see where that winds up. Couple names popping up. Supposedly they want to add a winger or a center and then a right-handed defenseman. Obviously, those are the 2 glaring holes. You mentioned him. Robert Thomas has been a name that has been floated a lot currently on the Blues, which pains me to say. He's got 35 points in 43 games. 0.12 cap hit signed through 2030-31. It's a deal that's going to end up aging really well as the cap continues to go up. He's only 26, so he fits your contention window and is a true number 1 center. At this point, you're hoping James Higgins becomes that. Which I think Higgins is going to be a really solid player. I don't know that he's like a superstar center where I think Thomas has the chance to do that. Hagens, to me, is the one untouchable in the system. I think you've had such a hard time developing contributing centers, and he just looks like a slam dunk top 6 guy. Like I said, even if he's not a superstar number 1 center, like I think he can have like a David Krejci like impact on this team. Which shout out to, I forget if it was either Scott or Bridget who gave me that originally, Krejci like impact, and then I started watching him a little bit closer, and I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely see that. So shout out to them for that. I think maybe Dean Letourneau could be a guy that comes out. The price on Thomas is going to be really high. The Athletic said that the 3 first half of the first round assets for Thomas.
Jeez.
So we're talking about 2 of the picks and Letourneau or maybe Poitras or Lorai. Those are 2 guys, obviously, they're willing to move. A guy we just saw, Owen Tippett, is another one, winger on the Flyers. He's also signed through 2031-32 at a 6.2 cap hit, 19 goals, 17 assists in 59 games. Obviously, with Arvidsson on the way out, I think you really lack top-end talent, and Tippett is that. Again, 27 years old, team-friendly deal, so he fits your contention window really well. Defensively, Colton Parayko, St. Louis Blues defenseman. He's a guy that the Bruins have seemingly poked around about a lot over the last couple years. It's a guy that this front office group seems to like. He's under contract through 29-30, $6.5 million cap hit. Obviously, defenseman, not going to put up any crazy numbers points wise, but he's a really good penalty killer, which would help the Bruins, who just can't seem to stay out of the penalty box. Their PK ranks 27th in the league currently. He's a little bit older than everybody else. He's going to be 33 in May, so during the playoffs. So a 33-year-old signed for the next 3 years is getting a little bit much. But again, like, depending on the price, I'd be interested in it. Those are the 3 big names. Mackenzie Weegar is another one that's been floated around. He was in the Matthew Tkachuk trade that sent him from Calgary to Florida as one of the auxiliary pieces, obviously. So yeah, we'll see what the price is. I'm not really holding my breath on any big move, but we'll see. I think they're definitely going to do something because this team has earned them buying at the deadline. They've earned them adding, even if I said I don't think this is a cup year, which I think that I maintain that. I'm willing to be proven wrong. Trust me, I want nothing more than to be proven wrong about the Bruins winning a cup. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. I think that Poitras and Lorai are definitely 2 guys that are on the way out, and I think if they're smart, Arvidsson and Peak are as well.
As long as they don't move on from Kuznetsov, I think I'm okay. It's interesting that a lot of these rental guys, it seems like, have played big roles for the team this year. So how does that shakeup work? If you're moving on from Arvidsson, are you bringing in one of these, high tier scorers or, higher level scorers than they currently have on the team? Or is it more of a sign that you're like, okay, we're not necessarily Stanley Cup contenders this year, so we should shave off these rentals, even if it means bringing in more draft assets or bringing in more, prove it players rather than going for it this year? Because I do think you don't want to get lost in the overachievement of this year. Like, I still, like you said, I think they're a ways away from being true Stanley Cup contenders. So if the best course of action is to trade off these expiring deals and maybe set yourself better for next year, then I kind of would rather do that. I don't want them to just like keel over this year, but I do think they, like you said, a buying and selling sort of approach makes the most sense. And
yeah,
Don
they're
Sweeney
not just
has
going to
proven,
sell.
Right. And Don Sweeney has proven, at least at the trade deadline, he's pretty good. He usually ends up winning more deals than not. So I'm confident in whatever they want to do, as long as they don't mess too much with everything. Like, if they get rid of some of my favorite guys, that's where David's Bruins breakdown turns into David's mental breakdown. I I won't be ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Corpusalo is another guy that personally I would try to sell high on. You have DiPietro down there, and he was an AHL All-Star, and we've already lost Brandon Bussey to the Hurricanes, who's now a proven asset. And Corpusalo has been really good, but at a 4 point or a 3.75, whatever his cap hit is currently at, I just feel like that money is, when you're kind of pushed up against it, is better served. On other parts of the roster, you are paying Jeremy Swayman to be your workhorse goalie. Whether or not he is that remains to be seen, but I'm willing to hand the reins over to a guy making the minimum in DiPietro to use that money elsewhere. I think the only scenario in which they would trade like Arvidsson or Peak for draft assets is those assets were then right out the door, because to me, if that's all you can do is sell and get in a seller's market and get really good returns for Arvidsson and Peak, then I think on paper, like if the game was played on a spreadsheet, then that's the right way to go. But unfortunately, it's not. Well, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you're looking at it. But this is a team that they have to then answer to. Sweeney's going to have to, Pasta, I don't know if you saw the clip from practice. He gave a pretty impassioned speech in the media about thinking that this team is worth investing in. So then you have to then go to your franchise player who Jones and Keefe did Tier Tuesdays of Boston athletes and had Pasta as a team Hall of Famer. I vehemently disagree with that. David Pastrnak is an NHL Hall of Famer. Number 88
Absolutely.
is never going to be worn again once it's all said and done for David Pastrnak. He's going to be your next captain. He's by far your best player, and you're going to have to go into that locker room and tell him and Charlie McAvoy and the rest of the group why you didn't think they were good enough to invest in, and that's something that's simply not going to happen. So we'll see what they end up doing. Got 3 days until then. So yeah, hopefully I'm really hoping they swing big and start to put together a team you can dream on and put together the next core of the next great Bruins teams that hopefully can get the job done, because that was not a strength of the former iterations.
Ooh, that gets the juices flowing. I wonder if coming out of this trade deadline we'll be feeling great about all the moves like we were last year. Like, honestly, I know people were upset about Brad Marchand being traded, and I think that was more so because of the team he got traded to.
Definitely, yeah.
But if they can have a good deadline here and still set themselves up for potentially at least a mid-round playoff run, like, I would be pretty thrilled with that. So I'll be following it closely, and I look forward to another breakdown. This was good. Congrats to both the men's and the women's teams for winning gold medals. It was a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to break down as well. Did you have any other final thoughts?
Check out the division preview series, starting with the AL Central. That one is up on the YouTube channel. We rebranded the YouTube channel. It's now Titletown Sports Boston on YouTube. We're gonna start to you teased it earlier, MLB The Show content. Out of the Park baseball's coming up in I think around the same time frame as there. So I don't know that you're a big spreadsheet baseball guy, but I'm a big spreadsheet baseball guy.
I'll try it.
So I'll probably rip some series on there YouTube wise. Looking to expand our content, doing some more stuff, and hopefully gonna parlay that into some more success for us in the pod. So yeah, keep an eye out there. Check out the division previews. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, then the NL East will be dropping around 1:00 on Wednesday afternoon. So check out those two with myself, David, and George. Other than that, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to get to know George as well. I know I mentioned on the AL Central breakdown that we had really not met before. And especially doing a 3-man show, we worked out the kinks in the first episode. I think this NL East breakdown, it was a ton of fun, and something you guys should definitely tune in for. And more, the rest of the divisions on the way. I know we're doing the AL West later this week. I'm looking forward to that as a Mariners honk. So yeah, we'll continue to break everything down throughout the rest of spring training. If anything comes up, we will be sure to jump back on here. But as always, thanks so much for listening. We'll check in with you guys again next time.
Roman Anthony.